What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video your girl wants to bring you guys a 5 looks 1 palette featuring my Club Nebula palette. This is a collaboration between Angelica Nyquist and Kaledios makeup. This is not my first product from this brand, and I will be getting more into that stuff at the very end of this video where I will be doing a review. But I do want to give you guys just some information very quickly. This palette retails for $45, and if you're wondering, this is shipping out of, I believe, Shanghai, China, I believe. Don't hold me to that. I know it is definitely shipping out of China, and for me I had to pay $10 shipping, bringing a grand total to $55 USD. I do believe they do have a free international shipping cap, but I just at that point really only wanted this palette. I did not want to get anything else from their collection. Like I said, I do have more products and I'll be getting more into that in the review. As for this palette, you get 13 grams or 459 ounces of product, and this is a 12-month shelf life. This is a pressed pigment palette. It is cruelty free and a vegan product. So on the screen right now I'll be showing you guys my swatches. Hopefully I was able to get those done. And yeah, this palette is definitely been a run for everybody's money. I know a lot of people in the first launch, including me, really only picked this up because they're a huge fan of Angelica and they also enjoy the color scheme. The second launch, you really get a lot of people who have watched the reviews of those first couple of people, including those who got this in PR. And they started to really see the color combination. They started to see the formulation of the palette, and they were like, I need this now. The third launch, I can only imagine the quantity of people who are going to be picking this up. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the actual palette. This palette has a very interesting cover. It's like very kind of crowded, but in a good way. There are different things going on. You also get like an array of I don't even know what to call this, like foiling in certain parts of the packaging, and this happens on only the actual packaging of the palette. When you go to the packaging that the box actually comes in, this has like a door featuring, and it kind of looks like it's like a duochrome type box because of how they have the foiling on this box. It's very interesting, very nice. I will say, if you are somebody who likes to know ingredients, you're gonna have to keep this packaging because there's no ingredients on the back. You just get a quote from Angelica and just some more information, and once again you do get more foiling. I will say I was very surprised when I got my package because my package, like I said, I only paid for the legit palette. I did not want the card game, but it still came in the nice kind of box PR, in the nice PR box type thing. So I'm really happy about that. I'm actually going to be recycling this. I already have an idea of how I'm going to be using this, and I am going to get quite a bit of use. We also get a card with the palette where they invite you to the Nebula club, and they give you how to RSVP, how to attend, the dress code, all of that jazz. It's actually very cute. I really enjoy that is a thing. So yeah, I don't really want to ramble on too much. Like I said, I will be giving a full-on review when it comes to this palette after my 5th look. At that point, I would have finished using all of the shades. There's only 2 shades to date that I have not actually touched in this palette, and I plan to use them together, so it worked out beautifully. And in that review, I will also be taking the time to kind of talk about my experience with Kaledios as a whole and kind of the different formulations that I have seen in the palettes that I have picked up. So if you're interested in seeing my looks and then subsequently my review, just keep watching. Alrighty guys, so I've started doing my makeup and I've obviously done one eye, and I wanted to show you guys how I did it. So first what I did is I went into a Chic GSN 10 brush, and I went into the shade Cyclone, which is, I would say, the darkest, warmest purple that they have in this palette. And I'm first just going to kind of put this directly in my crease, focusing on it having a circular structure, and then we're just gonna blend her out. in that circular structure as much as possible. Then we're going to just take a little bit more and we're just going to start to really construct that halo effect. And we're just going to blend a little bit more. And there we go. Pretty simple look. Just to kind of really make sure that outside is blended, the outer edge parts, I'm going to go into the shade Naru, which is the lightest purple. I'm going to pick up very little on my brush. This is a Smith 232 brush, and I am just going to blend the very outside edges. Like I said, I don't have very much product on this brush at all. And there we go. Very simple 2 looks so far. So that's where we're at. Now what I'm going to do is take a flat shader brush. This one actually doesn't have any. Oh yeah, it is. It's a Morphe M124. And I'm going to take my MAC oh my gosh, paint pot, and I am going to cut my lid with this product. I use this when I want to put a matte on my lid. I just find that it helps that matte to adhere a lot better than my NYX glitter glue. So I'm just going to cut out my lid very, very quickly. Next, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take that Chikuhodo brush and just blend the outer edges of that paint pot, just so that everything blends together nicely. Then I'm going to go into the lime green shade, which is Gravity, and I'm going to take it on the same side that I had that paint pot, just so it really adheres to the brush. And I am going to pack Gravity all over my lid. Okay, so now just to make sure it's blending nicely, I'm just going to take that same brush and just lightly blend out the edges. Since I already have a little bit of that purple on the outside part of that paint pot, it blends pretty nicely. I'm going to keep the upper part pretty straight cut. I'm not going to mess with that, but I'm going to flip my brush over, and now I'm going to go into the shade Firefly, which is like the greeny shimmery shade in this palette. And I'm going to focus this shade in the center of my lid. That just helps to add focus at the very final part when you like fully see your whole look. Alrighty, we're almost done. Now I'm just going to take that same blending brush I had up top, and I'm going to go right back into Cyclone. I'm just going to pick a little bit of product and blend on my lower lash line. As I always say, you guys know I don't mind a very low lower lash line at all. So go within your comfort, change your brush if you feel the need. Inner corner highlight is just going to be what's left on my brush from the Firefly shade. And I tend to just go back in with that Cyclone brush just to make sure everything is nice and blended. Now all I have to do is do my waterline shade, which I used my LA Girl Pastel Dream liner in Magic Mint. I used my liner from KVD Vegan Beauty, which is the tattoo liner. And then I also used my mascara from Lori. Oh my gosh, from Lancome, which is the Monsieur Big. I will do all of that really quickly, finish up the rest of my face, like my lips. Gotta add some moisture to these babies, put on my highlighter and my blush, and then I'll be right back to show you guys the finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. And yeah, look number 1 is done. I had some fun today. I had quite a bit of fun. I can't wait to get into these really, really dark blue, green, teal shades. And just have some fun overall. I'm going to be working on getting some experience with all of these shades as I do with all my multi-look videos. So if you're interested in seeing my next look, let's just get to it. Alrighty guys, so we are gonna start on and just do my second look really quickly. I'm just gonna of course be replicating this baby over here. And first we're gonna go into Samus, which is the peachy kind of crease shade. And I'm gonna put this all in my transition area. And we are just going to take the time to blend out the outer edge. Currently I'm using a Royal & Land Nickel large crease brush, in case you are wondering. And there you go. It blended out pretty easily. Then I'm going to go into my Chic GSN 10, and I'm going to go into the shade Queen of Blades, which is a really nice warm deep green or tealy shade. And this is going to go right into my crease. I'm going to pack the most amount of product on this outer V area, and then I'm just going to blend it in slowly into my crease. I'm going to try and initially keep this shade low, and then later on I will of course blend her up. Now I'm just going to go right back in with that Samus shade, because it looks like on this side, for whatever reason, I actually lost some of the shade. So I'm just going to reapply a little bit, just to make sure I still get that shade nice and good. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of that Queen of Blade shade and go right under my lower lash line. Then I'm going to take that same brush I had Samus on, and I am going to try and blend that out as well. On the lower lash line, I'm not going to be too concerned about actually getting a lot of product down there. My main concern down here is just making sure that I blend the Queen of Blade shade out. And on my outer V, I'm going to try and do my best to keep this at a circular shape. I tend to always unconsciously make this a angular shape, but this time, at least on my left eye, I did really good with keeping it circular. So I'm going to try and do the same over here, but also at the same time, of course, blending her out. And I think I did pretty good. All right. So that is my crease work. What I need to do now is just cut my lid very quickly. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I already blended over the outer edge of my NYX glitter glue. Now I'm going to go into the shade Nebula, which is the peachy green, wow, did I say green? The peachy orange metallic. And this is going to go all over my lid. And I'm just going to take my time in applying the shade, because it is a little, I wouldn't say flaky, but just take your time and really make sure, at least if you have eyes like me, I don't think my eyes are overly wrinkly, but with this shade I would say just take your time to make sure you really get a thin but opaque layer everywhere, and blend kind of out any of the excess product. So then in my inner corner, what I ended up doing is I actually ended up combining Nova and Celestial. So these two metallics over here, I ended up combining them because I messed up originally. And it came out with like a really pretty purple kind of iridescent shade. So I think overall it looks kind of nice, if I do say so myself. I'm just going to blend, of course, a little bit upper and lower just to make sure everything comes together. And this is pretty much the final look. All I need to do is my Neither of these are my waterline shade. I'm gonna put my waterline shade, liquid liner, and mascara on very quickly, and I will come back to show you guys the finished look in addition to figuring out what I'm gonna put on my lips. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. I had a lot of fun creating this look, and I feel like not a lot of people would really combine these two shades, and that's kind of the looks that I'm going for, at least for my looks on this channel right now. I really want to do color combinations and like overall looks that I feel like people just aren't going to look at or attempt to do when using this palette. So I don't know how many looks I'm going to do. I feel like I'm going to stop around 5, maybe go more, we'll see, but I'm having a lot of fun. So this was look number 2. If you're wondering what's on my lips, it is my MakeupnTravel Artist Rouge Cream in C603. This is my go-to when I want a dark vampy blue lip. I always go for this. Usually I combine it with Nebula, but I didn't want to do that today. So anyways, if you want to see look number 3, let's just get to it. Alrighty guys, so I am here to bring you guys the next look, and we're gonna go right back into that same crease shade, which is Samus. So I'm gonna go right into her, and I'm using a Morphe M535, and I'm using this brush because it has a flat but kind of fluffy head, so it's easy for me to really pack shadow, and I'm really just focusing on packing this shadow into my crease. I'm really trying to get some more thoughts when it comes to this shadow in particular, which is why I'm using it so often. So just bear with me. So packed her on really nice and vibrant. Okay, now I'm gonna go into a Smith 230 brush, and we're gonna go into the shade Void, which is the beautiful, beautiful dark navy. And I'm gonna take this and deepen up my whole crease with this shade. I'm gonna focus a lot of that product on my outer V area, and then slowly start to, of course, blend this up. I'm just going to start to do my lower lash line. Same shade Void all along the immediate lower lash line. And I'm just making sure that I really get this outer V nice and blended, but in a nice way. I really want this to be circular like my other eye is. So I'm just taking my time as much as I can, much as I can stand. Then I'm gonna go back into the Morphe brush and just really use Samus to blend out those outer edges. And I'm just going to go back and forth between both brushes till I get my personal desired look. Okay, so next we are going to NYX glitter glue up my lid, and then I'll be back to do my lid shade in my inner corner. Alrighty, so NYX glitter glue done. Then I'm going to take the beautiful metallic right here, Astro, and that is going to be my lid shade today. Okay, so lid shade is on. This is a really, really pretty shade. Now I'm just gonna take a pencil brush, and my inner corner highlight today is going to be Nova by itself. And this is, I would say, a multi-chrome. I think this is a white to green to blue. And I think there even is some orangey red situation in this as well. I haven't seen that part yet, but I will be using the shade with another metallic to see if I can get that kind of reflect. But this is all the eye look pretty much. I'm just gonna hop off camera really quickly. I'm gonna put on my waterline and my mascara, and then I'll be back to show you guys the finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. And let's talk about it. So I really did enjoy creating this look. Really went all out with the blues today. And it's a nice look so far. So this is look number 3. If you're wondering what's on my lips, all Project Pan, and everything else, I promise it will be listed down below. I think I've concluded after this look. I want to do 2 more looks. I really do. So this was my 3rd look, like I said. So I have 2 more looks in mind, and I'm excited to try them, and hopefully they work out. So I will see you guys in look number 4. Alrighty, let's get to it. I've already primed my eye, and I just want to jump right into the look. So first we're going to go into Cylon, which is the darkest but warm dark purple matte. And we're going to pick up a bunch and pack my outer V area. I'm doing this because I want this to be the most kind of impactful shade. And yeah, so we're just gonna take the time to really pack this on this outer V and slightly blend her out. I say slightly because we'll be blending her out in just a minute with a more with another shade, and you don't want this to kind of blend out too much. That person really needs to get their car together. Next we have Rock Hopper, which looks a lot lighter in pan and definitely cooler toned, but you will see it, you'll see, hold on. So I'm using, this is a Smith 232. Previously I used I think this was like an e.l.f. blending brush. There's no name on the brush. Okay, so Smith 232. And I'm gonna start in the inner because I want the least amount of product to blend out my darker shade. And I also want to make sure that the crease is just overall the same shade. And I find that if you don't start in the inner corner, it's not going to be that way, because you already have shadowing outer V, right? So you're already going to have color in that crease area. It's more important to get it on that inner area and to blend out your outer V. You see? Now I'm going to go back into Cyclone, because as you can see, some of that shade definitely is not there anymore. And I'm just going to pack more of it in and blend more of it up and out. I'm doing this just to ensure that I'm getting good payoff, and I'm really making sure that a majority of this look is warm with just a splash of cool tones. Because like I said, you can see that the shades, both of them, actually go on deeper than they appear in the pan. But also the Rock Hopper shade is definitely cooler in tone than Cyclone. And so having too much in that look, will really turn this look cool tone very, very quickly. Just making sure that the shape is similar to the shape of my other eye. Blending her out, doing my best. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is cut my lid. I'm going to do a very generous cut today, just because I really wanted my lid shade to really pop. I really wanted to see what this lid shade was talking about. So I'm going to do that really quickly, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I prepped my whole lid, and now I'm ready to put You're My Only Hope, which is this very, very pretty metallic purple, and I'm gonna put that all over my lid. As you can see, if you're looking on my other eye, it doesn't look purple when it's applied. When it's applied, you can really see the teal and the silverness in this shadow. I'm assuming then that this is actually a duochrome and not just a straight up metallic, which I've been having interesting time seeing certain ones pop up. I did watch Angelica's video, but honestly, if it doesn't stay in my head, very few things stay in my head, okay? I get surprised very easily. Even after somebody tells me this is what's gonna happen, I'll be surprised 2 seconds later, okay? So seeing this palette and actually getting it in my hands and now testing it out, I've definitely seen some very interesting metallics thrown in here, which is making my looks even more interesting than my basic self would have wanted them to be, if we're being frank, but I'm liking it at the same time. So I'm just doing what I always do, taking even more of this blending brush. I did it originally and now I do it after, and just blend just to make sure everything comes together even better than prior before. Now I'm taking a nice pencil brush and I'm going into the shade Nova. And this is going to be my inner corner. I told you guys yesterday I wanted to use the shade more often, and I wanted to use this in conjunction with some purples to see if I can really get what I felt was like a purple shade out of this. And I'm still having a little bit of difficulty, but I'm still going to use this in a couple more looks. I have what, tomorrow, this is my 4th look, so I have one more look for this video at least. I'll be using this palette more and I'll be seeing how I can really transform these shades. But anyways, this is the finished look pretty much. I just need to put on my waterline, my actual liner, and then my mascara, and then I'll be back to show you guys my finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. Okay, like I said, this is the finished look. If you're wondering what's on my waterline, today I used another pastel liner from the, what brand is this? LA Splash, right? LA Girl. And it's in lavender. It looks more of a pinky, pinky shade in my waterline compared to the purples that I actually have in my crease, but lavender is also a bit more warmer. So I was trying to pull out some of those warm tones in my eye look today. On my lips, I have my chestnut lip liner and my Dose of Colors Over the Top lip gloss. You guys will be hearing more about this lip gloss in my Project Pan update. And then I also have on my cheeks, you probably can't even see it, but blush wise, I have my Flower Beauty Balm Blush in Cinnamon. And then highlighter wise, I took a shade from my KVD Vegan Metal Crush palette, and I have the shade Gamma Ray, I think this is Gamma Ray. So yeah, that's that. Look wise, I'm actually very happy with this look. I think it looks really, really interesting. Very, very contrasting that. And I have one more look in mind that I would like to play with. We'll see how it goes tomorrow because it's going to be doing some more clashing colors, but I've really been enjoying kind of taking some clashing colors and seeing how they come together, and also doing looks like this, which are pretty normal for everybody to do. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for look number 5, and then I will also be doing my review. So just stay tuned for that. Alrighty guys, so we are gonna just hop right into this 5th and final look, and I'm first gonna go into the shade Red Giant, which is the kind of true red shade in this palette, and I am going to take the time to really pack this on my outer V area. Right now I'm using a Chikuhodo GSN10 brush. I really enjoy this brand's brushes. I have 2 or 3 brushes from this brand and I really do enjoy them. If you're wondering, I got them from Beautylish. And I'm just taking the time not only to pack this shade on my outer V and just make sure it's very impactful, but to also blend out those edges. It's very important, I find, to do this at this step, because otherwise it just may not be getting done the way you want it to. Then I'm just going to go ahead and take the same shade and go to my lower lash line. And just continue to make sure that the shadow is really being impactful in the way that I want it. Okay, it looks nice in red. On camera it's like a reddy purple, and honestly I think that actually is true to color. You see it kind of pulls a little bit more purple when I add my true crease color, which is 7 of 9, which is the beautiful, beautiful light sky blue. I'm going to be blending this in with a Smith 232. To start, I'm going to mainly put this product on my inner crease and slowly blend this out. I've been finding with doing these tutorials, honestly, that this is a really good way to not only make sure that my shadow is equal throughout my whole crease, but it also helps me to really blend out that outer V shade as well. So I've actually been really enjoying that. And yeah, we're just gonna take our time and just blend this shadow out. And we're going to do kind of a blended look all outside of that red giant shade. So as you can see, we're also going down into my lower lash line as well. Do keep in mind, if you are not a fan of extremely low lower lash line, like I am never really bothered by that, then do keep in mind to kind of reduce the amount of product you use, one, but also to not use the same brush that you use in your crease. Also, just go back and forth in between the two brushes to make sure you get the blending that you want. Sometimes I like to slowly blend into the inner corner with my actual crease shade, like I'm doing with this red giant. You saw I just picked up more product, and now I fully blended in red giant into my crease and in my lower lash line. Now this eye is definitely lower. The blue, which is what, 7 of 9, this is definitely lower than this side. So I will definitely take, if I can find her, my brush that I use to set my lower lash line and just clean her up. At the worst, if I need to, I will also just go ahead and get some more powder on this brush and for real clean her up. I don't think I'm gonna need that, if I'm being honest, but we're just gonna go with it. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Actually, at least from what I can see on camera, I don't even see it at all. So I'm just gonna take what is on the brush, and we're just gonna blend her out just a little bit more. Okay. Okay, now we're going to cut my lid. I'm gonna, of course, use my NYX glitter glue and prep my lids for my metallic shade. Alrighty, now we're going to do my lid shade, and that is going to be the shade Celestial, and then my inner corner highlight is going to be the same blue triochrome situation or multi-chrome, which is Nova. So let's just pop those babies onto their respective areas. This is pretty much the finished look. I'm just going to hop off to do my liner and my mascara, and then I'll be back to show you guys my finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. I am having so much fun today. I really enjoyed, first of all, the heavily freckled look. A+1, okay? But I also am really liking the color scheme and the kind of contrast that I put on my eye look today. With today's look, I have used every last shade in this palette. I will be kind of doing a haul roundup at the end of this month, so if you want to know even more opinions on this particular palette, I would stay tuned for that video. But as of finishing these 5 looks, I want to give you guys my opinions and my review. Overall, I really enjoy this palette, color scheme, and formulation. I have tried now 3 palettes from Kaledios Cosmetics, and I have found that I've had good formulations and bad formulations. The first formulation that I didn't necessarily enjoy was their Neon palette. I didn't really enjoy the formulation. I thought it was a very thin formulation for a majority of the shades in that palette. And so because I have such a deep, rich complexion, it did not really show up for me. And if it did, it was just chalky, and I was not about it. Then I went ahead and picked up their latest purple palette, which the name is not coming to me, but it released the same day, the Lunar Lavender palette. I picked that up, and I think that palette is brilliant. It is a nice, rich, deep, like bodied shadows, and so you really don't have to do too much to really build up the shades. I find that this is a very comparable formulation to that particular palette. So if those are the kind of palettes that you've tried, I would say definitely this is a very good palette. So this kind of makes me kind of conclude that I just don't like Kaledios's neon shades, which is perfectly fine. I feel like neon shades are very hard to formulate, and that was the one palette that I really gave this brand. So it was kind of a hard, you know, sell for me to really expect the brand to really knock it out of the park. As for the color scheme with this palette, I think this color scheme is very tricky and very interesting nonetheless. You have a very nice variety of greens, blues, purples, and even some warm tones with that peachy and that red toned matte, and of course the shimmers. I think the shimmers overall are very nice. These are definitely Kaledios's metallic formulation, with a couple of these actually being dual chromes and multi-chromes. The mattes, like I said, are nice, rich, thick formulation, so you're not going to have to build obscenely. I will say the one shade that I think just did not show up the best on my complexion is Samus. When I used that shade in my crease, it did tend to fade and kind of escape from my eyelids quite quickly for me. Every other shade I think did really good job. In addition, Rock Hopper, I ended up using that yesterday in collaboration with the Cyclone shade because it looked like a purple and pan, when in reality I would say it would be best to actually pair this shade with the blue if you're trying to do a monochromatic look. If you just want to add some shades that kind of go together, then you're good to go to do what I did. But if you want it to be more monochromatic, I would definitely recommend using this lighter kind of tealy grayed shade with this darker rich navy shade. I really enjoy the greens. I think these greens are really interesting and very pretty. Overall, there's not really a dud for me, except like I said for Samus. I just think that shade on my complexion crease wise, it just ain't hitting it. It ain't. Now I probably could get a lot more use and be a lot better satisfied using that on my lid, or even in the inner corner, really packing that on to a primer. But otherwise, sis just ain't hitting it. So for me, like I said, I only had previously to getting the Club Nebula palette, I only had these two palettes, which once again is the Futurism 4 VR Neon and the Futurism 6 Lunar Lavender palette. And I just kind of wanted to show you guys the palettes side by side. In my opinion, Kaledios did not they did not dupe any of the shadows with this collaboration. I think they did a very good job at really making sure to curate this color scheme, and that really is very kind of telling to Angelica Nyquist and who she is. I will say overall, I actually prefer the mattes in this palette compared to definitely the neon palette. I really am not checking for this neon palette in the grand scheme of things, except for the metallics. The metallics are bomb. And even the mattes in this palette, I'm definitely checking for the Angelica Nyquist collaboration more. Like I said, I kind of mentioned it, I believe, in my look yesterday. This palette will be relaunching soon. They will be doing a relaunch for it to kind of ship out in the spring, if I'm correct. I will put all the information that I know to date when I'm editing this video on the screen for you guys. But if you're asking me like, would I recommend this palette? I personally would. I really have enjoyed it, and I think that I've been able to create kind of some weird combination of colors, and I do kind of want to go back and do kind of the normal combination of colors, if that makes any sense. But I also just think this is a really good palette. I really enjoy really dark, vampy mattes with some interesting bright shimmers. That's just a color scheme and kind of a color palette that I truly enjoy. I am considering doing another video where this palette will be kept in mind, so do kind of keep heads up for that. If you guys have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to comment down below, and I will do my best to let you guys know how I feel about this palette, and answer your questions, of course. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. And as always, y'all, Black lives do matter. Please remember to wear a mask and stay safe. And as always, I hope your foundation matches your neck. Bye, guys.